Okay, this is going to be a raw video. Not even wearing any makeup, my hair is not done. But I wanted to talk about something real with you guys. I was catching myself thinking, okay, what do I do today? What lesson do I teach? What do my students need? People watching me from all over the world. I don't even know where you're from. But I started thinking about that, and the struggle is real. It gave me an idea because so many of you right now could be going through a very similar thing. You sit down to study, you have a 10-minute break, a 15-minute break, and then you find yourself in a pickle. Damn it, what am I going to do? What am I going to study? I don't know. And guys, I wanted to make this raw video because I wanted to show you that this happens to all of us, no matter what your level is, no matter where you are, no matter how many resources you have, okay? Because when that happens, there could be so many things going on in your life. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe you didn't sleep well. Maybe you study alone, and even though you have the internet, you can Google stuff. You don't really know how to put the things together. This is actually one of the big advantages of my program, my academy, my study plan, and other products that I'm not going to talk about. That's not the focus of this video. But here's what I try to do when I have no idea what I need to do, okay? Because this happens. And when I find myself in that situation, I start slowly, okay? I typically go to my notebook, which is why it is important to have one, okay? I take a look at my previous lessons, what I was doing, I have lots of lessons, so I know that I will find something. I take a look at where I was before until I stopped, or if I'm feeling lost, I kind of go back and I see, okay, I was studying about modal verbs. Okay, I was talking about possibilities. I wrote an essay about possibilities in my future. Okay, that is interesting. Then I check some new words that I studied and that I learned. Okay, I'm going to review those words. If I'm feeling totally lost, I have no idea what to do, and I don't have the energy to study, because this happens to us, okay? Sometimes I wake up and I don't want to work, I don't want to study, I don't want to exercise, I just want to eat chocolate. Don't you have those days? Like you just want to eat chocolate? I feel that way sometimes. so, so what I do is, okay, I check the words, and then I create some examples. Okay, very simple. Reviewing the vocabulary. I don't want to put too much pressure because, again, I'm feeling a little lost, which happens. So I look at some words that I learned, and then I create some examples, and then I see how it goes. Okay, feeling lost and I don't want to go to my usual habit because I have a routine plan. Okay, I have a step-by-step process of what I need to do. So it's just for those days when I'm feeling lost in other aspects of my life. Okay, then what I do is I will search for something for me to watch, and I have my favorite people, so it's easy for me to find them, okay? I like to connect English with my life because that makes it easier for me to study. That is actually the main point. So every time I watch something on YouTube, especially YouTube, that's typically where I go when I want to study something, I search for those people that will help me with my English and inspire me to get something done, to change something in my life. So I go to my favorite professional coaches, personal development professionals, performance professionals, and I pick a short video. Short to me as a teacher is a little longer compared to you. You're a student, so as I always recommend on my channel, for students, I typically recommend something between 5 minutes, at most 10 minutes. But me as a teacher, as someone who is at a different level, short for me is about 15, 20 minutes because I have more work to do as a teacher who needs to be constantly improving. Okay, so that is a very, very important point. So I will use that video I will learn important insights to improve my life. I will follow my listening routine. That's where I begin to find myself, because maybe, unlike you, I have a process. So that's where I start to find myself. Okay. The video brings me inspiration. I begin to have ideas, because action, guys, movement is what is going to get you out of this state. Okay. I wasn't feeling like making this video. And honestly, I don't know if this is a good video. I don't know if it's going to be of service to you. I hope it is. Okay. But the movement brings the energy you're looking for. And that is something that sometimes students don't realize. They sit and wait, or they postpone. No, I will do this later. I'm not going to do this now. I'm not feeling good. And this is the problem. So again, as I'm going back to what I typically do when I don't know what to do, I start watching, then I start following my listening process, because I have a solid listening routine. I start doing some note taking, and then I immerse in the language, because I immerse in the subject. Okay. And that is the beginning of my study time, because then I begin to focus on something that got my attention, that helped me think, okay, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And then I will study based on that listening experience. Guys, the most important thing to me when I am feeling like I don't want to do anything is to just do one little thing. As I said, I start by looking at my notes, reviewing what I did. Okay, I was studying this. Then I start speaking to myself in English, orally, aloud, using my voice. Okay, so I was learning about this. Then I wrote about that. Then I studied this grammar lesson. The last time I studied it, oh, I learned this word. I learned this expression. Oh, let me create another example right now. Okay, quickly, let me create that. And that's how I get the ball rolling when I'm feeling completely demotivated. Okay, because I have those days too. That are days when I don't want to post anything, when I don't want to share anything, when I don't want to teach anything, and they happen. So it's important to learn how to deal with those moments. Okay, I have a very solid routine on my Facebook, on my YouTube, on my Instagram. I don't post every single day, but I have a lot of content there. And I wanted to share this video because maybe just right now you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to study today. I don't know what to study. I waste so much time. And if you pay attention, something I just thought about now, I didn't go to Google to search English lesson, advanced vocabulary for teachers, because that is going to make me even more stressed, because there's so much information on the internet. So I will go to my favorite podcast speaker. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I basically watch YouTube videos that will bring me some kind of insight, lessons to improve my business, to improve my life, to help me expand my horizons, to help me learn something new. So I follow some people on YouTube, some on Instagram. And when I feel like, oh, I don't know what to do, I go immediately to those channels and I find a 10-minute video, a 15-minute video, and that helps me kickstart the process. And then maybe I'm listening to that audio material, that video, that gives me an idea of a grammar lesson I can review, or maybe a vocabulary pattern that I identify as a teacher, so that I can get back to doing some writing and studying. And these guys, the movement pushes me forward. Okay, this is something that I teach inside my academy, because what is the biggest problem that I identify in students? Oh, I don't know what to study. Whew, there's so much information. Then you go and you start searching and you start searching, and there's just too much information. And then you feel like half of the time you're searching for lessons, and the other half of the time you're beginning the lesson and you're not entirely sure that you should have started that lesson in the first place. And having those days is normal. Learning to deal with those days, that is what's going to make a complete difference. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, let me know what you thought about it. I intend to make more videos like this, more casual. Forgive me if the sound is not perfect. Okay, if my makeup is not on point. I'm gonna upload this just the way it is. Okay, you may be listening to some kids screaming because, living near is cool. It's pretty much what you get. But I'm learning to deal with it. That is another problem that I have. Sometimes to be completely focused, I need to put on headphones because noise noise really bothers me. It makes me so uncomfortable. This is a struggle I've been having here in this new apartment. I moved, and it's very noisy. The sound of the kids, no problems with the kids, God bless. But I am extremely sensitive to noise, okay? Especially noise that doesn't follow a pattern, a rhythm, okay? Like my computer now is making noise. I I'm okay with that sound because there's a rhythm, there's a pace, okay? But anything that is unexpected or very high, then I lose focus. I lose it, okay? But I've been learning to deal with it. I have my headphones. Let me show you. I know it's not the purpose of this lesson, but I even bought these ones. This one, it's not a headphone per se. Okay, it's just uh, to cancel noise. So this is amazing. When I put this on, I don't hear anything. Okay, so you also need to observe, just before I finish this video, the things that bother you in your study place, in your study environment, and try to find ways to improve that environment so that you can study properly. As an auditory learner, if I start listening to music when I'm studying, music that I like jazz or Coldplay, Maroon 5, I'm not going to study, okay? But if I listen to soft classical music, soft jazz without lyrics, then I'll be able to concentrate and study. So you also need to pay attention. Do you need to move, stand up, walk around? Sometimes when I'm feeling a little bored, I like to stand up and walk in my room. My room it looks big, but it's not. It's actually small. I walk around answering something in English so that I bring that movement. Okay, so these are things that we need to pay attention, especially on those days when you don't feel like studying, because they are going to happen. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Share with someone you love. Bye.